You've ever asked an AI a question and get back an answer that's just weird? Yeah, you're definitely not alone. Look, these powerful models are becoming a huge part of our lives, and learning how to actually talk to them, how to get what you want out of them, that's the new essential skill. So let's dive in and figure out how to master this whole AI conversation thing.
Just look at this sentence. It came straight from a super powerful AI. I mean, the grammar's perfect, the structure's there, but a park bench made of cheese? That right there is what the experts call a hallucination. It's when an AI just confidently makes something up that's completely nonsensical. It's a really fascinating and honestly, a pretty common quirk.
So that gets us to the big question, right? Why do these incredibly brilliant systems sometimes get things so spectacularly, hilariously wrong? Well, the answer isn't buried deep in the AI's code. It's actually all about how we communicate with it. To solve this, first, we really need to get a handle on the core challenges. These models aren't magic wands. They have some very specific limitations that we need to learn how to work around.
Okay, so here are the big four issues that researchers have zeroed in on with these large language models, or LLMs. Their outputs can be all over the place. They can invent facts. They can struggle to apply what they know to a new situation. And maybe the most important one, they are incredibly sensitive to how you word your question. Seriously, changing just one or two words can give you a wildly different answer.
So if the problem is in how we ask, it stands to reason the solution is in learning to ask better. And this is where a whole new field comes into play, the art of the prompt. It's basically about learning to speak AI.
The official term for it is prompt engineering. And the key thing to get here is that it's not about trying to trick the AI, it's about structuring what you ask, your input, to gently guide it toward a more accurate, more useful response. It's really about becoming a better partner in the conversation.
So at the most basic level, you've got two main approaches, zero-shot and few-shot prompting. Zero-shot is what pretty much all of us do naturally. You just ask a question, straight up. Few-shot, on the other hand, is kind of like giving the AI a little mini lesson before the test. You show it a few examples of what you're looking for, and it picks up on the pattern.
And this table right here, this shows why this is such a huge deal. Just look at the difference in workflow. Traditional machine learning could take weeks, even months of work. With good prompting, you can get something up and running in minutes or hours. This isn't just a neat trick. This is a massive, game-changing leap in efficiency.
Okay, now let's level up. We can actually go beyond just asking simple questions and start to guide the AI's reasoning process. We can basically teach it how to think its way to an answer.
For the more complex problems, there's a technique called chain of thought, and the name says it all. Instead of just asking for the final answer, you tell the AI to explain its thinking step by step. It's exactly like your old math teacher always said, show your work. Here's a perfect example. Instead of just spitting out 60 kilometers per hour, the model first lays out the formula it's going to use. Then it plugs in the numbers. And finally, it calculates the result. By forcing it to follow this logical path, you drastically cut down the chances of it making a simple, silly error.
But chain of thought does have a weak spot. If it makes a mistake early in the chain, then everything that follows is going to be wrong. And that's where an even smarter technique called tree of thoughts comes in. This lets the AI explore multiple what-if scenarios all at the same time.
Let's take a look at this little puzzle. Instead of just committing to one first move, the AI brainstorms a few possibilities. It thinks, okay, maybe I could subtract these two numbers. Or maybe I could try multiplying these. And right away, it sees path 3 is a total dead end. 90 is way too high. So it just throws that idea out and moves on.
And that is the key. The AI starts acting like a detective, checking out different leads. It follows the paths that look promising, but it's not afraid to backtrack and try a different route if it hits a dead end. This makes its problem-solving so much more flexible and robust.
All right, so we've taught the AI how to reason better. But what about its actual knowledge? How do we fix the problem of it using old, outdated information?
This is one of the single biggest hurdles with most of these models. If an AI was trained back in 2022, it knows absolutely nothing about anything that happened in 2023 or beyond. Its entire world of knowledge is fundamentally frozen in the past.
The solution is this incredibly powerful technique called Retrieval-Augmented Generation, or just RAG for short. The best way to think about it is like giving the AI an open book test. Instead of only relying on what it memorized months or years ago, it gets to look up fresh, relevant facts to answer your question right now.
So here's how it works. You ask a question. The system then instantly goes and retrieves relevant documents from a knowledge base. This could be today's news articles or your company's latest internal reports. Then, it augments your original question with all these new facts and feeds the whole thing to the AI to generate a final, up-to-date answer.
The benefits here are massive. Accuracy skyrockets because the answers are now grounded in real data you can check. It completely solves that stale, outdated information problem. And maybe best of all, you get explainability. The AI can actually cite its sources and show you exactly where it got its information. That's a game changer.
Now, of course, it's not a magic fix for everything. The quality of that library it's searching is critical. You know the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. It's also a bit more work for the computers, which means it can be a little slower and more expensive. So it's an amazing tool, but you have to implement it carefully.
So with all these incredible new ways of talking to AI, what does the future of these conversations even look like? I mean, where is this all headed?
Well, we're already seeing the next wave emerge. There are techniques like React, which lets an AI not just think, but actually do things, like use tools or search the web. And then you've got chain of verification, which basically prompts the model to become its own fact-checker, forcing it to review and validate its own work before it ever gets to you.
So the crucial point in all of this, the big takeaway, is that prompt engineering isn't just about getting clever answers. It's about a fundamental shift in how we interact with these systems. We are building the tools to make AI more reliable, a more transparent, and ultimately, a much more powerful collaborative partner for every single one of us.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought. As all of us get better at speaking AI, as we move from just asking simple questions to guiding these complex reasoning processes, how is that going to fundamentally change the way we work, the way we create, and maybe even the way we think? That's a question we're all going to be answering together.